I've been running the Falmouth Road Race since 1975. It's my personal favorite road race and one of the great American road races. It has a difficult and unusual race distance, 5 decades of storied history, incredible scenery, a brilliant oceanside course, harbors, a lighthouse, winding roads, and deceptive hills. It has enthusiastic crowds, a community spirit, a great race organization, as well as that summer vibes on the Cape atmosphere. But there's 2 connected problems with the race. Most runners today have no idea who the legends of this race are, names like Frank Shorter, Bill Rodgers, Joan Benoit Samuelson. And of the 12,000 runners that take on Falmouth every summer, only a handful can tell you who actually won the race. And that's a problem for a race built on legends. I want to talk about why that matters and how we can fix it. And as I do so, I want to take you with me on the course itself as I ride my Elliptigo M-Sub mountain stand-up bike to talk about what makes Falmouth so special, what we might be losing, and how we can bring the history and the race up front back to life. It all begins here in Woods Hole, a tiny Cape Cod village best known for its science labs and ferries. But once a year, it transforms into the starting line of one of the most iconic road races in America. 7 miles of ocean views and the highest caliber of international competition. The history of the Falmouth Road Race coincides with my own running history. I grew up just a half mile from the finish line. My role model, Tommy Johnston, finished 9th in the inaugural race back in 1973. I started running cross country 1 month after that first race at the just opened Falmouth High School, where today they hold the Race Expo, and I was part of the first team to run on the track that now hosts the elite Falmouth Mile races and race indoors inside the field house where thousands of runners pick up their race bibs every year. I ran my first Falmouth Road Race in 1975 when I was 16 years old. That was the year that Falmouth brought the current Olympic and Boston Marathon champions to my seaside town to battle it out over the odd race distance of 7 miles. Back then, Falmouth Road Race weekend was like Christmas morning to me. I'd read about these world-class runners who were champion marathoners, Olympic medalists, and icons of the sport in magazines, and I'd seen them on television, and suddenly they were racing on the roads of my hometown. And I could even enter and run the same race. It was like if the Red Sox sent Carl Yastrzemski, Carlton Fisk, Fred Lynn, Dwight Evans, and the whole team to play in my backyard. That's how magical it felt. But something has changed. Back then, the hype at Falmouth was about the top runners. Frank Shorter versus Bill Rodgers was front page news. They were household names on the cover of Sports Illustrated and on TV broadcasts. This year, on the bus to the start, in the long Porta-John lines, and in the endless minutes before the start, I asked fellow runners if they had heard about Frank Shorter, Bill Rodgers, or even Steve Prefontaine. Not one runner recognized those names. One guy remembered Lynn Jennings because of an autograph he received as a child. But that was it. I even asked the runner if he had heard of Grant Fisher, and he had no clue who I was talking about. Besides that, most runners didn't even know or care about who won this year's race. And I get it. The culture has shifted. With over 12,000 runners, it's more about personal accomplishments than spectating elites. Many runners are running for charity, or they make Falmouth their once-per-year race. You don't see the pros up close anymore. Media coverage barely shows them. Social media is all human interest stories, and many just assume, some Kenyan or Ethiopian will win. But here's the truth. Falmouth is a real race with real winners, and those winners matter. So, how do we reconnect the 12,000 runners with the race up front and the history of the past? I have a few suggestions. Starting with maybe having multiple big screens near the start, showing elite introductions and live footage to the masses of runners disconnected to what is happening at the front. The Falmouth Mile had a huge screen on the side of the track this year so that fans could watch the action. It was awesome. Maybe the race could name each mile marker after past champions, the Frank Shorter Mile, the Greta White's Mile, or maybe have the themed water stops be based on certain champion runners. Get back to recording the whole race. I could only find a finish line video this year. I noted that the famed race announcer Tony Revis personally filmed the last few miles of the men's race on his phone so that we could watch Connor Mance win the Beach to Beacon race in Maine, a race similar to Falmouth. But even though I saw him in Falmouth, there was no recording of the Falmouth race. Could we get some action cameras on bikes, motorbikes, or even the lead car to film all 7 miles of the race again? Heck, this race used to be televised on national TV. And here's my wildest idea, coming from my 43 years experience as a classroom teacher. I know 2 things. You need to capture the audience's attention, and they need to feel that there is something in it for them. I propose something like this. Maybe create some digital athlete cards of the top runners. When you pick up your bib, you're automatically assigned a card with one elite runner. If your runner wins, you get entered into a prize drawing. Maybe the prize for selected winners could be a free entry into next year's race and a photo opportunity with the winner, an autographed race bib, or maybe even a chance to start near the front the following year. Just like my elementary students collecting reward cards that I create and hand out, runners would suddenly care about who's up front. They'd have someone to cheer for and connect with. The runners and the race up front might matter a bit more to them. The Falmouth Road Race has everything: history, scenery, spirit, and legends. I just hope more runners today learn those names and stories, because Falmouth isn't just about finishing 7 miles. It's about being a part of something bigger. A race of champions, a race of community, a race of history. Thank you for riding along with me through 7 magical miles of Falmouth's ocean breezes, hills, and history. If you've run this race or watched it or cheered on a friend, please share your favorite Falmouth memory in the comments below. I'd love to hear what makes it special for you. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out my earlier video on the 1975 race, how it all began with Frank Shorter and Bill Rodgers, and the goals I had for my 50th anniversary running of the race this summer. It's quite a story. Because whether you're running just for fun or chasing one of the greats, Falmouth is all about all of us coming together: community, competition, and tradition.